Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Anna, and today's video is something I've been wanting to make for a very long time now, and I'm very excited to share with you guys. I'm going to be going into a full breakdown of my entire fitness journey, starting from how I got into fitness to the mistakes I made once I was getting more into lifting, my restrictive past, getting into now when I got into body recomposition, as well as my plans for the future. So I'm going to be sharing all the details of that, mistakes I made, what I learned from it, and hopefully be able to help you guys out as well so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. Don't forget to subscribe if you find this video helpful, and without further ado, let's jump right in. Alright, so this first part all starts from the beginning. I started dance when I was in kindergarten and continued up until I was in 7th grade. I did pretty much all kinds of dance during this time. I did ballet, tap, hip-hop, jazz. I did end up figuring out after a while that tap was definitely my favorite, so that's the one that I started to stick with more as the years went on. We had class about once or twice a week for an hour. I was pretty much always outdoors with my family or with friends, so I was very active back then. And on top of dance classes, I would also practice outside of class. So I was also getting in more dance and activity in that way too. So as much as I loved to dance, I also absolutely loved to sing. I was in choir from 7th grade through 12th grade of high school, and I kind of wanted to combine the two, and I had this friend that was in show choir. I ended up joining and did that from 8th grade through 11th grade. Show choir was also a lot more involved than my previous dance studio, because where at my dance studio we only practiced about once or twice a week for an hour, and then most of my other activity was happening outside of class. For show choir, we would practice once a week for 3 hours, and on top of that we also had a lot more to practice outside of class because we were no longer just doing like 1 or 2 songs, we were doing a whole show. So it was like a whole 20-minute show that I would practice outside of class. I was getting activity that way, and then also for my old dance studio, we only had 1 recital at the end of every year. Through show choir, we had about 5 or 6 competitions every year that we would go to. It would be an all-day event where you would perform twice if you make finals. On top of that, we also did a lot of local shows throughout the year, so there was a lot more performing going on through show choir compared to dance, and therefore I was a lot more active. I really loved show choir my 8th grade year and also my freshman year of high school. In 8th grade, we actually had a tap number in our show. And then in 9th grade, I also really enjoyed it because we had a really awesome director, but then that director left for our last 2 years, and a lot of my friends also started to kind of branch out into different things in their high schools. There's a couple people that left after that year, and things just kind of shifted. It was still fun. My 10th and 11th grade years, we had a really great director that year too, but it just wasn't really the same feel as it was when I first joined. So I was like, I'm just gonna take a step away from this for my senior year and focus on finishing high school strong. Senior year, I decided to take a step down from show choir. I was no longer active all the time like I was before, and all of a sudden, about 6 months into my senior year, where we were, at winter break, all of a sudden I realized I've gained a decent amount of weight. I wasn't really fat, but I was no longer really in shape. I got really tired a lot throughout the day because I wasn't being active, and I just had really bad energy levels because I was eating poorly as well. So I just did not feel that great. And then also during this time, I was going through a lot mentally. I had a lot worse anxiety than I do nowadays. I still struggle with anxiety sometimes, but I do feel that being active and joining the gym over time has definitely helped that. But in this time, this is kind of when my anxiety was at its peak because I wasn't being active and I wasn't really confident in myself. I was struggling with a lot mentally, and I just had a hard time really enjoying my life. I feel like the gym really does help with your confidence, and it's kind of something that I look back on a lot, is who I was back then versus who I am now, and the progress I made back to high school my senior year. Because my self-image was so poor and my anxiety was getting really bad, I just felt like I needed a little bit of a change. I did never go to therapy at the time, which looking back, I definitely think I should have. But I am very thankful to still be here today to share my story and my growth If you ever are struggling, I highly recommend that you go to therapy and to not just keep that bottled inside of you. My senior year, I was taking a gym class to count as my credit towards graduating because we had to take gym class, and I was like, oh, I hate gym class. Like I don't want to go to gym class. But because of that class, that's actually kind of what got me interested in working out. Every day, we would weight lift for about the first 5 to 10 minutes. We would just do some like simple things. Like we would do like curls and like little like shoulder presses. And like I was only using like 5 or 10 pounds back then, but I don't know, something about it, it just made me feel really good inside afterwards. And I wasn't even really thinking about how it was changing my body, making me stronger. I was more just thinking about like, man, like every time when we do this, I feel better like the rest of the day afterwards. So after that semester ended for senior year and we were on winter break, I decided to start working out at home more because I wanted to keep doing it. I didn't have any weights at home, so I just used my body weight. I would do like, squats, lunges, push-ups, sit-ups. I would follow a lot of workouts that I would find on YouTube when I was looking for workouts at home. And I was honestly seeing a lot of progress from that at the time because I was pretty new to working out. And on top of that, my mental health was really improving from it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep doing this and, just see how it helps my mental health, because I was definitely feeling a lot more confident in my own skin and just a lot better. So if you don't have access to a gym, there's no excuses. Just start working out at home. Don't worry about how your body looks. Just think about how you feel after that workout and focus on having that feeling every day to keep yourself going. Through working out at home, I was able to lose a little bit of weight. I noticed like a little bit of change in my body, but not necessarily that much, because while I was working out at home, I was also primarily hoping that I would lose a little bit of fat, gain a little bit of muscle, like get some definition going, nothing crazy at that time. I was just trying to get into a little bit better shape so that I could kind of get back to where I was when I was in dance all the time, and I had a pretty good physique back then. So I was increasing my steps. I would work out at home for about a half hour or so. I would do bodyweight exercises. In between sets, I would just pace around my room. I would go for walks outside, or if the weather was bad, I would just walk around my house. And I did see a little bit of change from this, but because I started to notice okay, I'm getting a little bit more in shape from this, but I do kind of want to increase the intensity level. I ended up going with my friend to Planet Fitness for the first time, and that's when I got hooked on going to the gym, and been going ever since. But there has been a lot of ups and downs and a lot of learning process through these few years since I started going to the actual gym. So I'm gonna share all that with you guys right now. This all started back in quarantine, actually, around COVID time. It was June 2020 when I started going to Planet Fitness. And that was pretty much one of the few gyms in my area that was open at the time. We were wearing masks back then, and I had no problem with that. I just felt happy, honestly, to still have access to a gym and to be able to work on my body, work out, feel healthy, feel strong, confident, just boosting my mental health back then, and also getting more in shape, slimming down a little bit. So it all started out great. The only thing though is I was hitting full body 6-7 days a week, which means I wasn't giving my muscles any time to even think about resting. They weren't getting any rest. They were just every single day. It was okay, we're hitting legs, we're hitting quads, we're hitting glutes, we're hitting biceps, we're hitting shoulders, we're hitting abs. We're doing all of it every single day. Don't follow that workout split, please. Give your muscles at least a day to rest before you are hitting those same muscles again. Okay, if that's upper, lower, if that's push-pull legs, if that's Arnold split, whatever you do, just please do not do full body 6-7 days a week. If you want to do full body every day, go 3 or 4 days a week, at least, so your body is getting rest. The other mistake I made was that I started cutting to absolutely no end. I was tracking my calories back then because I had started to learn if I want to lose weight, I need to be into a calorie deficit. For a calorie deficit, you are going to be expending more than you are putting in as far as energy and calories go. And then for a calorie surplus, you're going to be putting in more energy and calories than you are expending. I told myself, okay, I just want to get to 120 pounds or so. So I was pretty close to that already. I just wanted to lose a little bit more weight so I would look a little bit better, more slim, feel more confident in myself. Like, that was my mindset back then, was, okay, if I reach this weight goal, I will look better and I will feel better about myself and everything will be solved. That's not how it works. Because once I got to that weight, I told myself, I'm just gonna lose a few more pounds. Like, I'm just a few more pounds. So then I got to 117. And do you wanna know what I told myself when I reached 117 pounds? I'm just gonna lose a few more pounds, just a few more pounds. So then I hit 115, and once again, I told myself, just a few more pounds. And it just kept going and going and going. Like, I just kept wanting to lose more and more weight, no matter what weight I reached, and told myself I'll be happy once I get there. I was never happy. I was never satisfied with that weight. So I just kept going down and down and down, cutting more calories lower and lower and lower. And I was absolutely miserable. Okay, I had no period. I had absolutely a horrible sleep schedule. I was moody all the time. I was lashing out a lot towards coworkers, family, friends. Like, I would get so short with people. If people like even asked me like questions or like saying anything to me, I was just not fun to be around because I was not giving myself adequate energy to put out energy into the world that people wanted to be around. Like, there's nothing wrong with cutting your calories for like a short period of time, but I think where I definitely went wrong is I was in a cut for a total of 10 months after this entire span of time had passed, this entire portion of my life where I just kept cutting calories lower and lower and lower. I was in a cut for a very long time, and that's why I lost my period. I'm not saying to never cut your calories if you're trying to lose weight. I'm just saying don't do it for that long and don't do it that extreme. What's crazy though, looking back, is when I would look in the mirror at myself when I was 112 pounds, that was my lowest body weight that I ever reached, was 112. I was still looking in the mirror at myself and I would still say to myself, we can lose more. Even with no period, horrible sleep schedule, face breaking out, my nails were brittle, my hair was coming out in clumps when I would shower, I was moody all the time, could not sleep, I was always freezing. I still would look in the mirror at myself and I was not happy and I was not satisfied, no matter how low I got. No matter what I thought would make me happy about my physique, it was never enough. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, like, I lost some weight, like, I should be happy. Why am I still unhappy? Because the truth of the matter is, when you're working out to reach a goal weight, and that is your sole reason, you're never gonna be satisfied, because no matter how much you think that dream body of yours that you reach is going to make you happy, it's not going to make you happy. If you want to focus on getting happier through the gym, focus on how your workout is making you feel, not how it is making you look. Because it only takes a 30-minute workout to change the way you feel, but it takes months to change the way your body looks. So as I started to realize this more and more, and I started to realize, okay, if I'm connecting exercise to the way I look and I'm never gonna be satisfied, it started to kind of click for me that what I was doing was just not working. So that's when I started to instead connect exercise to the way it made me feel. And that's when I started to go into a reverse diet to try to fix my metabolism and just regain my health, my strength, and my muscles as well. So at this point, I was 112 pounds. I was very much so under eating at about like 1,500 calories, which for that extended period of time for myself and how much I was working out just was not enough for my body, because I had no period. My body was not functioning how it should be. If you're losing your period, that means your body is basically in starvation mode and it is shutting down a function it doesn't need right now, aka having a baby and being pregnant for women, so that it can keep your heart alive. Which is a huge red flag for your brain to be like, okay, like, we need to eat more. Even though I was eating 3 meals a day, bunch of snacks at 1,500 calories, it was not enough. I needed more calories. So I started to increase my calories very slowly. So I entered a reverse diet where I would increase my calories by about 50 each week. It took a very long time, but my goal was to just get back to like 1,800, 1,900, maybe even 2,000 calories and just kind of see what happens from there. Through this time, I was continuing to work out as well, but my focus was no longer on getting smaller and smaller. Instead, it was on improving my mental and focusing on how my workouts made me feel, continuing to get stronger in the gym so that my lifts would start going up again, whereas before they were decreasing very drastically. As I continued to heal and get better at listening to my body's hunger and fullness cues through the reverse diet, I started to realize that I didn't really need to track anymore. because for a while I was still tracking the reverse diet to make sure I was now eating enough calories. But once I started to eat more and I felt comfortable with it, I finally deleted my fitness pal and told myself, you know what, you don't need this, just listen to your body. I started to just feel so much better now that I knew my body is getting what it needs. And also over time, as I no longer connected my happiness to reaching a certain number on the scale, I also stopped weighing myself. I'm not really sure what I weigh honestly anymore. I don't prefer to weigh myself personally. I feel like it's easier for me to just look in the mirror, see how I feel, see like, you know, how my muscles are looking, like where I'm seeing progress in my lifts, and honestly that's a lot healthier of a way for me to track my progress. I was finally just starting to focus on lifting heavier and eating to fuel my body, and it's just been the best feeling ever since then. Like being able to do that, no longer having to track down like tablespoons of ketchup and measuring out how much pepper I'm putting on my toast with cottage cheese or whatever I was eating. Like that's no way to live unless you're prepping for a show. You can do that stuff then. Not normal to do year round for several months when you're already not having a period. It's not worth it. During this time, I kept going to Planet for about 6 or so months where I was just focusing on gaining weight, getting stronger, fueling my body, and it was great. But after a while, I did start to notice that I wanted a change in environment, and I'm not saying that Planet Fitness is horrible because I love it there. That's where I started out, that's where a lot of people start out. But for myself, I decided to switch gyms just because I did want to get into a more bodybuilding and also somewhat powerlifting environment. I was pretty much just focusing on building muscle, like leaning out a little bit, increasing my metabolism as well. So this is kind of when the whole body recomp started for me, was during this time, which would take us to about 2022 era for Anna. This gym was great for me as I started getting stronger. I was deadlifting a little bit here and there. It was also a lot less crowded than Planet Fitness was, which was really nice. But my only problem with this gym is that while it was only 20 minutes away from my house, it was about 40 minutes away from my college campus. So on days where I was like busy, where I'd be like going to work, going to school, going to the gym, it was really hard to get back and forth between everything in a timely manner. So that's when I found this family like rec center slash workout area that also had a pool, a sauna, hot tub, everything you could ever imagine. It was great. But there was a little bit of a catch to that as well. During this time is also when I started to post on social media a little bit more about my fitness journey. I did keep going to that gym for a while, but after some time and I started filming videos, I did get told by some of the staffing there that they'd prefer if I didn't film in their gym, and I was like, okay, it's your gym, like, you know, like I'm gonna respect that. But during that time I was also like, okay, I do want to start filming more videos for social media from the gym, so I ended up going back to the other gym even though it was further away because I was able to film there. But then when spring semester rolled around, I was like, okay, I need something closer so I could, you know, still film content, make videos, and not have to drive so far. And that's when I discovered my new home gym, which I now go to all the time. Such a nice blend of bodybuilders and powerlifters, and it's what's kind of gotten me interested in both like bodybuilding shows as well as powerlifting meets. And it's so nice to go there and just see everybody being so disciplined and so focused, the mentality of everybody, the hard work everyone puts in. It's something that's honestly made me that much further disciplined in the gym, and ever since I started going there, I definitely hold myself to a higher level that I didn't before. So throughout this entire journey, I was basically just able to restore my relationship with food, my health, getting my period back, my metabolism, and also growing my muscles, which I'm just very thankful that I was able to recover from those past restrictive habits and become the person I am today. So that takes me into where am I going in the future? And right now, I think I'm just gonna keep doing body recomposition, but I am looking into maybe doing a bodybuilding show at the end of next summer for 2024. Maybe doing a powerlifting meet before then, but I do just want to keep doing body recomp and becoming the best, strongest version of myself physically and mentally. And we'll see where next year takes us. If that means doing a bodybuilding show, then I can't wait for that journey because I'm excited to see what the future has in store for me. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye!